Okay. This is going to be a demonstration for experimenting colors using the Procreate program. So in terms of the colors that you guys will choose or the artwork that I want you guys to focus on, either pick either your SI number 1 or SI number 2. Obviously, I had to go with SI 1 with mine just because that was the only one I did with y'all. So I'm going to just use SI 1 as my example here. So it was trying to find a more recent one, but I guess it's the most recent one that I did here. So I'm gonna use this drawing as like my basis for like the coloring assignment. Okay, so you're gonna open up Procreate and you're gonna find your SI1 that you did. So just save it as a JPEG if you haven't done so. You probably already saved it as a JPEG. So I'm gonna click the run share. Just save it as a JPEG. I'm gonna save it again just so it's easier to find. So I'm just gonna save it in my photo library. Okay, so all you're gonna do is go to the gallery mode. You're gonna click on photos. So we just need a flat image of your SI number 1 or SI number 2. So definitely whichever one was more finished, I would just use that one as your practice for today. Okay, so we have my SI1 right here. So I'm actually gonna have you guys do 2 different variations of colors with your sustained investigation. And however you color or you want to keep it black and white, I want you to do like the same thing with like finishing up SI number 3. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys a couple of different ways you can experiment with color. So first thing I'm going to advise you to do is in terms of like experimenting with different color schemes, I would just kind of focus on, taking a look at different artworks that have like, really nice color schemes. So just for the sake of time though, I do want you to just go on to our website where we did our SI number 3 colors. This is like all the resources on colors. And, you could basically just save some of these images onto your iPad. So if I click and hold here, I can click on it. I'm using my finger to just save it, so just save the photos. Save a couple of these to the photos. So any colors that you guys see that's like really interesting, you can click on it to save the photos. Okay, but what we're gonna do in Procreate though is we're actually gonna grab the color schemes from those photos so we can, experiment with colors using the color schemes of our existing photo. So, just like what we talked about before with colors though. There's not really a way you can copyright colors, so it's okay to use colors from like other artists, because you'll notice like if you look at a lot of like really famous artworks, the artists do tend to use like very similar color schemes, but it's just all the way you apply the color scheme. So references, I'm just gonna pull up the artwork that I'm gonna use. So I'll use this one with the blue hands and the red right here. So I'm just gonna make this smaller here. So just want to range your space. So you're gonna have your reference here, your drawing, and then you're gonna create a color palette of the image. So there's a way you can create a color palette of like photographs or images or artwork. So just click on the colors button. On the bottom here, you're gonna click on palette. And then you're gonna click on plus up here. And then you're gonna click on new from photos. And we're just gonna click on the same artwork so we can pull out that same color palette. And then to make it smaller color palette, you click on the gray tab on the top, just drag it down, and then you have your colors to use. Okay, so you want to set up your workspace where you have your artwork, the reference of the artwork that you're looking at, and then the color palette, because we want some kind of direction with like how we could possibly use the colors in the artwork. Some of you may want to arrange it this way. If you're right-handed, your image is probably gonna be this way, just because you don't want the picture or palette to overlap what you're doing. I had to do it the other way just because I'm left-handed, and then if you're left-handed, you'll probably have it oriented in this direction here. Okay, so you have all your resources, everything that you need on here. Then all we're gonna do is just create a new layer on top, and simply you're just gonna change the you can click on the end button. So these are actually different overlays you can use in your in the program. So what these overlays do though is some of them affects the highlights of the drawing, some affects the shadows, and then in some cases you can just color on the drawing and won't really change anything. So you want to scroll all the way down to the color overlay. So we're going to click on that, and yeah, and then we're just going to try to lay some colors out. So just experiment with the colors. So I'm going to click on this red here. And I do suggest using a painterly brush. So I usually like using a wood acrylic, but you can use any of these brushes here. Don't use, your inking brushes, just because we got a little bit of like a texture to the things that we draw. And I think the wet acrylic's pretty good, but you can use other paintbrush. But, as I'm like laying the colors though, one of the things you will notice too is, the areas that I color in though, it won't have an effect to my drawing at all. So very easy, quick way to just experiment with colors. So, maybe I can use like the, like the red for the figure. Coins could be in red. Some of these figures could be in red. So my light source could be like the red. And then maybe I can use like this blue as like my background. So feel free to, do it all on one layer. Or if you wanted to, you can also separate the layers as well. I'm not sure how this looks if I add another color on top of that layer. Okay, so it does kind of behave like the same as like your layers. So, I'm actually gonna keep it all on one layer just because, I'm just gonna use a little bit quicker of a demo. Feel free if you want to don't want to mess up on your layers, you can always do separate layers. So, you can do like a blue here, red. And just kind of experiment with the colors. So like I always think of like the blue as like more like the darker shadows. So I want to use like that red to highlight the the important part, which is like the money and his facial expression. So this is kind of one way you can kind of experiment with like the colors. And then you have like your pressure sensitivity. If you press harder, you get like more of a saturated blue. And if you want, you can just use like the color palettes here. So I'm gonna go like a little bit darker blue here. So this is like making it go a dark gray. Maybe I can do like a lighter pink here. So just kind of experiment with some colors. So I could probably clean this up a little bit more, but basic idea though is we're just trying to see how the colors look. So sometimes the color's a little too strong. You can always click on the color layer. You can lower the opacity too. So if it's a little too saturated, you can always lower it a little bit more. So yeah, one way of manipulating the color is, just want to use the color layer and then try out some different things. Obviously, you could clean this up a little bit more. So I drop the colors as well. Okay, so that's one way of how you can experiment with colors is using the color layer. All right, another way you can do it too is, let me see here. Okay, another method is you can just use gradients as well, but still open up the, the reference here. And image. So let me use a different piece. So we'll do something different for this one here. So new photos. I'm gonna grab the palette of this orange blue one. So if you want, you can try different colors. You can use like the same ones, but this one's a little bit different though. So another method we can color with the program is we can use gradient maps. So maybe like the color layer, maybe you don't really like too much of the colors because I feel like the colors like real simple. You just kind of just lay out colors and then just change the colors. This one's a little bit more complex. This is with gradients, so you can click on any of the gradients, but we're gonna change each of these pictures. So by default, you probably have like the color wheel, but you can go back to the palette that we had before. So this one I can do like a darker blue. This one I can do like the medium blue here. This one might be real interesting doing like a very vibrant orange here. So, and then this one I could probably do like a yellow. So if you want to play around with the gradients, that's a quick, easy way of getting the colors you want. That kind of mimics like the picture itself. So you can click on the pen here, So kind of like lower the, won't make it as intense. So I usually don't always at 100%. And another thing you do too is you click on the gradient map button. If you want to just pencil in certain parts, like for example, I really like the part right here where like it's just a portrait. And then I can have like the glow going off of here. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of manipulate the gradients with this way. I feel like this is a little bit more advanced than the color layer. So you might like this one a little bit more. So, I can just color in the layers for like this one layer here, where it's just like the strong orange glow. And then, then I'm gonna click on the pen here just to finalize the gradient. And then you can add another gradient on top of it. And so I'm gonna do like the pencil again. Actually, let me turn back to the other one so I can see what I'm doing. This one, I can focus in a little bit more on like the background colors. So I'm probably gonna add more blues to this one here. Kind of might be neat with this yellow. Pop it up a little bit higher. So I'm not even really worried about what's happening in the picture in the middle, just because I'm just trying to add something for like the background. So I'm just focusing on the background and like the bottom part of the edges here. But I'm gonna go back with the pencil layer. And then now I'm just only gonna color in the background part. So if you color in too much, like I colored too much there, you can go back to the eraser here. Just make sure the eraser is the same with acrylic brush. You can erase, clean it up, or you can undo it too. So this one I just want to just color in the background. So yeah, if you notice though, my colors are kind of going a little crazy when I'm coloring it in. It's just the iPad's trying to keep up with what I'm doing, but I'll just ignore it. But once you lift the pen up though, it'll be, normal though. So you could do like multiple gradients on different layers. It's just a little bit trickier to do though. See, I don't really like that yellow, so I'm gonna just try to just get the edges, lower the opacity. Yeah, or I can go very lightly. So just remember though, if you think it's a little too strong, you can always go a little bit lighter with the brushes. So that's pretty neat though, what I have here. Although I probably could have done a little bit more of that blue. Yeah, I was missing the blue over here, so. Oops, it's a little too big. Okay. I'm gonna leave it be, but you kind of get the idea though. I'm just going to, add the colors for this one here. And then maybe you could do like a whole gradient for like the whole thing. I don't really want to do this. I'll like go back here. I can lower the opacity just to kind of blend some of the colors in. Not a big fan of it. Let me just undo that. All right, well, you get the idea. And then the last one you can do if you I just use an example from one of the students. Let me go back to this one here. So you want to just do color on color, that's fine too. I know some of you guys did some color pieces with SI1 and 2. You can do like the same thing on top of the piece. So let me do this on a separate layer. So photos, I think I saved this one. So let me crop it in again. So just make sure to do it on the, just save it as like a JPEG so you have like a flat layer. But I can do like the same thing if I want to do color on color. So maybe I could do like, I don't know, like a little bit more of like a blue here. Be kind of neat. And then if you want to, you could try out some different overlays too. I forgot to mention, these overlays, I'll do something a little bit differently. So you might find something else that you might like. This hard light's pretty interesting. This is like before and after. So maybe you can use like some of these brushes to clean it up. Let me see. I don't really like how that's behaving, but yeah, there's a really neat texture on the shirt here. Maybe I can lower the opacity a little bit more. You know, you can do like the same thing, but just do it on top of the color layer. So maybe there might be some gradients you might want to play around with. Okay, but it's just really just trying out different colors to see the look or feel or how you can change it. You know, who knows though, sometimes when you play around with the colors a lot, you might find something that's unexpected that you might really like. All right. Okay.